You walk through Toronto every day, past glass towers, busy streets, parks filled with people. It feels normal, but it isn't. Because beneath your feet, right now, there are entire places that shouldn't exist anymore, buried, sealed, forgotten. And the unsettling part? Most people walk directly over them, every single day, without ever realizing it. Tonight, we're counting down 8 hidden places in Toronto that feel like they were erased from reality. And stay with me, because number 1 isn't just hidden. It's something you might be standing on, without knowing. Number 8, Sunnyside. If you walk along Toronto's western waterfront, everything feels calm. Bike paths, open water, a few old buildings, nothing unusual, until you start noticing things that don't quite make sense. Concrete fragments, strange edges in the shoreline, structures that look out of place. Most people ignore them, but they shouldn't. Because 100 years ago, this exact spot was the loudest, busiest, most alive place in the entire city. Sunnyside, an amusement park that opened in 1922 and exploded into life. Roller coasters, a Ferris wheel, dance halls, restaurants, and a massive outdoor swimming pool that drew thousands on hot summer days. This wasn't just a park, this was where Toronto went to escape. And then, almost overnight, it was gone. In the 1950s, the city made a decision. Build a highway, the Gardiner Expressway, and Sunnyside was directly in its path. So they erased it, sold the rides, demolished the buildings, reshaped the land itself. What had been the heart of the city became infrastructure. And today, if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll miss it completely. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Number 7, Fort York. Now picture this. You're driving down the Gardiner Expressway. Traffic, noise, concrete stretching in every direction. You feel like you're in the middle of a modern city. But you're not. Because directly beneath you, there's a battlefield, Fort York. Built in 1793, and in 1813 it became the center of something much bigger than Toronto. American forces invaded. They captured the town, burned government buildings, and what happened next? Most people never connect. The British didn't just respond, they retaliated by marching south and burning Washington, D.C., including the White House. That moment in history? It traces back to right here. And today, Fort York sits in a kind of silence, surrounded by highways, hidden by skyscrapers. Thousands of people pass over it every day, without realizing they're crossing ground where history turned violent. Number 6, Guild Park and Gardens. Now this one feels wrong, not dangerous, just wrong. Because when you enter Guild Park, it looks like you've stepped into ruins. Massive stone columns, broken facades, ornate carvings, scattered across a quiet, open landscape. It feels ancient, like the remains of a lost civilization. But it's not. Every single piece you see here was taken from buildings that once stood across Toronto. Real buildings, banks, offices, landmarks, demolished. And instead of disappearing completely, they were brought here, reassembled, displayed, like artifacts from a version of the city that no longer exists, which creates this strange effect. You're not looking at history. You're looking at pieces of memory, out of context, disconnected. And almost nobody walking through this park realizes what they're actually seeing. Number 5, R.C. Harris Water Treatment Plant. Now let's talk about a building you depend on every single day, but will probably never enter. From the outside, it looks like a palace. Massive stone walls, perfect symmetry, towering windows. You'd expect it to be a museum or a government building. It's not. It's a water treatment plant. The R.C. Harris facility, built in the 1930s, and designed with a level of care that feels almost impossible today. Because inside, it doesn't look industrial at all. It looks sacred. Marble floors, brass fixtures, vast open halls, spaces that feel more like a cathedral than infrastructure. And yet, every day, This building quietly processes enormous amounts of drinking water for the city. No crowds, no attention, no recognition, just constant operation, hidden in plain sight, doing something essential, beautifully. Number 4. Casa Loma Tunnels. Above ground, Casa Loma feels familiar. A castle in the middle of a city. Grand, historic, impressive. But beneath it, there's something most people don't expect. A tunnel, long, narrow, cut through solid rock, stretching hundreds of meters beneath the surface. And the moment you step inside, everything changes. The air feels different. The sound disappears. Your footsteps echo in a way that feels too loud. It doesn't feel like a tourist attraction. It feels like something hidden, something functional, that became something else. And the deeper you go, the more it feels like you're moving away from the city above, even though it's still right there. Number 3. Lower Bay Station. Now imagine this. You're standing on a subway platform, people around you, trains arriving, doors opening, everything is moving, everything is normal. But directly beneath your feet, there's another station. Same size, same layout, but completely empty. Lower Bay Station, built in the 1960s as part of an experiment. The idea was simple. Connect subway lines into one system. The reality? It failed. 6 months later, the entire experiment was shut down. The station was closed, sealed off, and left exactly as it was, for decades. Just sitting there, in darkness, right below an active transit system. But here's where it gets unsettling. Lower Bay didn't stay completely unused. It became a stand-in, a fake subway system for movies, New York, Chicago, fictional cities, all filmed down there. So while thousands of people move above it every day, a hidden version of the system has been quietly appearing on screens around the world. And then there are the stories from workers, people who know the tunnels, who say they've seen someone down there, a woman, wearing red, walking along the platform, and then gone. No sound, no trace. Just enough to make you think, maybe that station isn't as empty as it looks. Number 2. Toronto's buried rivers. Now we go deeper. Because beneath Toronto, there are rivers, still flowing. Right now, you just can't see them. Garrison Creek, Tattle Creek. They once ran openly through the city, natural, visible, alive. But as Toronto grew, they became a problem. Polluted, dangerous, unmanageable. So the city made a choice not to restore them, but to hide them. They were sealed into pipes, covered over, and built on top of. But they never stopped flowing. They're still there. Moving through dark, confined spaces beneath streets and buildings. And if you pay attention, you can still see their presence. A dip in the land. A curve that feels unnatural. A shape the city couldn't completely erase. Toronto didn't remove its rivers. It buried them. Number 1. Toronto's forgotten cemeteries. Now imagine this. You're standing in a park, or walking through a neighborhood, or sitting inside a building. And beneath you, there are bodies. Not a few, thousands. Because in the early days of this city, people were buried wherever there was space. Small cemeteries, churchyards, unmarked grounds, scattered across what is now downtown Toronto. And when the city expanded, those burial grounds didn't disappear. They were built over. In some cases, bodies were moved, but in many cases, they weren't. One of the most well-known examples is Potter's Field, a burial ground for the poor, the unknown, the unclaimed. Located in what is now one of the busiest parts of the city. Records suggest thousands were buried there, but not all of them were relocated. Even today, construction crews still uncover human remains. Work stops, investigations begin, and then everything continues. Buildings go up, people move in, life goes on. Which means right now, people are living entire lives above graves they don't even know exist. Toronto wasn't built on empty land, it was layered, built over, stacked on top of its own past, and beneath the noise, the traffic, the skyline. There are still people there, waiting to be remembered. So the next time you walk through Toronto, pause for a second, look around, and then think about what's beneath you, but because the city you see is only half the story. The rest of it is still down there.